Welcome to another episode of The Latest to Admire. Today, I am so happy to have a conversation with actor Kevin Bigley. Kevin has been in the Moody's, Sirens, Upload, and more. Thank you so much for being on my show. I'm so
No,
glad to be talking.
thank you for having me. I thank you so much. I didn't mean to interrupt that wonderful introduction. I pretty much just follow whatever Robbie does as far as interviews. So once you said you had Rob, I was like, you got me then. I'm the easy one. Robbie's the hard one to get.
Um, so who do you most admire, and how has that affected the way you live your life?
Man, it's a really tough one. I think it's probably Rob. No, it's probably the corny answer would be my wife, in that my wife is just a very, very tough person. She's had all sorts of obstacles she's had to overcome. She has a fused spine, intense scoliosis. She lost her dad at a young age. A lot of those types of things. And yeah, I've just always kind of looked at her as like put her on a little bit of a pedestal, but then also I've confided a lot in her. So admiration, I think, is is multifaceted. I think it would be something like that. I guess when it comes from an entertainment, like as a role model, I really like people who work in this industry and they have kind of normal lives. They don't take on a bunch of, like, they don't care about the like the fame aspects of things. I really like the people most of those guys tend to be people like Steve Zahn or something, someone who's funny but a very good actor, can do drama, can do comedy, but then also a guy who is really down to earth. And I think he's from Kentucky. I think he's got like a ranch out there. I live outside of LA in a small town in the woods here, and in a really nice kind of small town community. And I really admire people who just don't seem to be caught up in the ego trap of the industry, which is easy to do. And sometimes it's fun. I'm rambling a little bit, but it's fun a little bit. But I think I like to be able to. It's like going to Disneyland or something. You go and then you leave. Like, I don't need to live there. You know.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, LA, I go and visit often. It's like my favorite place. So,
Ah, that's great. It's fun. It's like I love all of the history and stuff. But I love that portion of it. I think some people get really caught up in, you know, they feel that they're losing sense of that, then they're losing sense of their relativity, like, or like if they're yeah, being known, being recognized, being, like, I'm recognized when I go into LA, not all the time, but here and there. But here no one really cares because they've already met me. So it's nice to have that. It's fun, and I love to go to all the fun restaurants. And it's cool when you see like Sean Penn walking down the street or something. you know like eating a candy bar. You're like, you never guess who I saw and where. But it's at a certain point, I think some people can kind of delude themselves into thinking that because they're in it, that means they're in it, that's success or something. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Um, so what small things bring you joy on a daily basis?
What a great question. The first one that comes to my mind is my dogs. I have an older dog. She's like 10. Her name's Annie. She was a rescue. They're both rescues. She's kind of like this We always say she's kind of like a Muppet that was like a failed tester, that Jim Henson had, where it was like, I kind of lost my way with this one. She's just this poodle, but also I think they said she's like part pit or something. She's like an abomination, and but she cracks me up. I love her. But we got this little guy. He's a Frenchie Boston mix rescue as well. He had a really tough little birth, and he lost his brother, and his parents were strays. So we got him, and I love him to death. He cracks me up. Mike is his name. So Michael. I love hearing my wife yell his name. That's another thing that brings me joy when she's mad. I won't say his name now because he'll come running, but she'll be like, Michael, like, stop it, get off of that. Like those little things give me a lot of joy. His cute little face. So yeah, that and hanging out. I mean, I just really love, I enjoy like leisure activities, especially when it's just me and her or something, and coffee, sitting in a coffee shop, reading. I love going for walks with her. I love walking with the dogs in the morning with my like an audio book, and I like playing guitar. I play a little bit of golf, and yeah, all sorts. I have a long list of things that bring me a little bit of joy, which is nice. I'm glad that I could talk to you about them because they're making me much happier.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I also, yeah, there's so many things. I'm grateful to have so many things that come to mind that
That's
bring
right.
joy. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, right now with like fall, I just that I'm always fall and winter are my favorite seasons. So they bring me so much joy and
I
pumpkin
love it.
spice lattes.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it up here too because we're at like 5,000 feet, so we'll get snow in the winter. I like justified winter. I like winter when it's like cold November, like December winter, and even some of January. But like when it gets to March and April, that's when I get really mad. I start to get frustrated, and I come home and I'd be like, when is it going to start warming up? But I love this little 3 to 4 month span. September,
Yeah.
October, November. This is like the best time of year, and the leaves are going
Yeah.
to start. They're changing or falling. We have some evergreens around here. Also, a lot of like the community events. Like there's like a little Halloween parade here, which is super fun. I love. Um, and what else? Oh yeah. I mean, they do like little Oktoberfests and all that stuff's fun. So yeah, we
Yeah.
have a great time in the fall.
Oh, I love that.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I'm like Halloween is my favorite. My family and I always joke that I was a witch in a past life. Um, and then my mom the other day when I said that, she was like, past life? I'm like, I will proudly be a witch in this life too. So,
That's so great. Yeah, Thanksgiving is my favorite just
oh
because
yeah,
I love the leisurely thing of it, but also everyone coming over. I love the morning with coffee. We'll watch the Macy's Day Parade, which is just such a silly thing. We just laugh at it, like all the funny musicals, they'll just be, we'll just laugh at like, they're Terminator, the musical, and they're like, like it's just some movie that they've made into a stage play. I am a cyborg. Yeah, like some big thing, and
yeah.
laugh at it and drink our coffee, and then my wife gets started on dinner, and I love having everybody over and playing records and stuff. We watch Charlie Brown, and yeah, I love it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I love Thanksgiving too. It's always so much just so fun being with surrounded by family.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, so what has been the biggest obstacle you've overcome?
Man, it's tough to say that because when you say it's like kind of I play guitar, and whenever I say Oh, I play guitar. Someone else, they'll be like, are you good? I'll be like, yeah, I'm pretty good. And then you meet someone who's like really good. You go, I guess my pretty good means something way different. Like it's all relative. So when you say you've had hardship or whatever, it's difficult. It's like it's all relative. I'd say that for me, obstacles and things I've overcome. Um, we came from very humble upbringing. We lived in it's hard. My parents always like it wasn't poverty, but it was when you write it down on paper, it was pretty bad. It was this little house on this freeway on ramp in this very small town that has succumbed to a lot of natural disasters. We had a flood that pretty close. I mean, almost destroyed our home when I was born, and so there was like a watermark that was midway up the wall. Like water went right through the house, and we didn't get any money to fix it, and it was already a very modest home. My dad was a construction worker. My mom worked at Pay and Pack, which was like a Home Depot, and like we just didn't have a lot, and but we were very happy, like and then we just grew up in an area that was that the flood really hurt that area, and it was just kind of it was blue collar, working class, lower class, and tough. And when I went to school, I was a small kid, small kid. When I got to high school, I was still like 5 feet. I was like this, always the smallest in my class. So I got bullied a lot, and I fought a lot. So being the place where I grew up, it was always like, you settle your problems with your fists a lot of times. So there was a lot of fighting and a lot of losing those fights, but I fought anyway. But that's where I kind of learned I learned like I always had a sense of humor, but I learned how to use humor to kind of a lot of times get me into more trouble, but I just kind of cope. I just really enjoyed being funny, and I was kind of a smart aleck kind of kid, and I used to idolize comedians and look up to people on Saturday Night Live, and I would tape Saturday Night Lives and all this stuff. I'd rewatch, and memorize some of Bill Murray's comebacks and David Spade's stuff. And I'd go to school and I'd use it, and then get my butt kicked more. But I that was probably kind of some of the tougher stuff. And then we moved around a little bit. We went to San Francisco, and I didn't fit in there. It was like the opposite. It was like all these people had money. I was living in a place in which everybody was working class. My dad became a prison guard, and we lived in a really small fishing town, but everybody was the same. And then when we went to San Francisco, it was the opposite, where I was around a lot of wealthy people and not coming from money. It was a very strange experience until I was about, I finally got out of there and went to college in Chicago. I say that, going into my adulthood, it's mostly just been, this career. I'm not, I didn't start as a kid. I'm not a kid actor. Those guys kind of tend to, I think, kind of get pretty far. They kind of start out with a little bit of a head start. But for me, yeah, I think I'm always kind of struggling and or trying to overcome, the odds of this industry that are just very, very complicated, complex, and daunting. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Um, so what lessons from your childhood have most impacted your worldview?
I think that's a really great question. These are all great questions.
Thank
You're a very
you.
good interviewer, man.
Thank
They're
you.
so much better than all the other questions I get. They're so much more personal. I think as a kid, I remember. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee while I think about this. So over the summers, I used to work for my grandfather's construction company, and I would work like a shovel job. Like it was down in it, literally when you say like I'm in the trenches, it was like literally it was trenching. We were like digging trenches. And you were doing that with some equipment, but a lot of times you're digging old pipe out of the ground. And I'm 17, 18 years old, 19 years old, and I'm working with these people who are immigrants and people who are, have had to sacrifice a lot to come to the country, and they're sending money back home and all that stuff. And in the meantime, I was coming home just completely sun blasted, like from the sun, working all day in the sun, making $10 an hour. The sun had beat down so bad on my ears that they had puffed up. They had sun blisters. They would just like, without, I'll spare you some of the details, but they would burst and I would get like fluid running down my face in the middle of the night. It was just absolutely like, it was really tough work. And I would come home and I would look at on social media, which was just kind of starting, MySpace and Facebook were just beginning. And I really kind of got the first dose of what are, my generation and generations now afterwards would get, which is like this, you would be privy to all of these trips that all these people are on. Like I said, all these kids from San Francisco, or even now some of the kids I was going to college with, they're like going on these trips to, Europe and all this stuff. And it was all good. I mean, good for them, but I was like, why do I have to work so hard? Like, and they don't have to work so hard. And my money that I was making, wasn't going to go for some trip, or it wasn't going to go to spend it on this or that. It was going for my books, for school. And it just felt, I remember just like tearing up after being absolutely exhausted, and my ears are popping with, sun blisters and fluid and stuff. And I just remember kind of just like near tears, my dad coming in and being like, "Hey, what's bad?" I was like, "I just don't get this. This just seems so unfair." And he was like, he was like, "First off, I know." He was like, "But secondly, like, this is just the way that it is, and there's going to be a day in which, those, certain people, they're not going to have any of this strength or well of hard work to pull upon, to draw from." So he was like, "So you have a lot of experience," because I would go out there and I would work my tail off on these construction sites. I would work really hard. I didn't want to be seen as lazy. I didn't want to, I just worked. And I think when I found in art that, with either writing or acting or producing, that work ethic translates over, that was a huge life lesson. That was like, oh wow, like I always thought that art was magic, that people are like, they're just gifted. They're gifted guitarists, they're gifted actors, they're gifted writers. They're just so naturally good at it. They sit down and they write. When I figured out that all of these artistic skills are just skills, they're skill sets, they're things that you can get better at. Um, and that my work ethic and working class work ethic and all that construction and all that stuff that goes into that, um, that unlocked the whole world to me. That you can be whatever you want to be. You can be as good as you want to be at something. You just have to work at it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So if you had a warning label, what would yours say?
Loud, loud. That would be mine. Now my wife would make that. I kind of do have that warning label. I'm just loud. I laugh loud. I talk loud. I'm loud in the house. Like I slam stuff. I'm a very loud man. And it works for like, acting, because Luke on Upload is so loud. I just like, but I mean, whenever I'm at like a friend's house and they have a baby and I laugh, the baby will like look at me. Like I get a lot of attention for being loud. So that's what it would say.
I like that one.
Good, good.
Yeah. Um, so I am a pop culture obsessed, and I go in stages of shows that I can't stop watching.
Okay.
Is there a show that you are currently obsessed with?
What I'm currently obsessed with. Sometimes they get oversaturated where I'm just watching something. Like when you get obsessed with something, it reaches a point where you're like, oh my God, my brain is swimming. For me, um, I was recently just obsessed with The Sopranos, with rewatching The Sopranos. That's my wife and I that we just it's our favorite show. We just love it so much, and but we don't rewatch it all the time. But yeah, that's one that I just get completely and totally obsessed with, where you're like you get excited that you're not going to go to dinner or something. You're like, what if we just stay in and we watch like five episodes of The Sopranos? Like I
Yeah.
mean, Gandolfini as an actor is so good. I mean, it's just an amazing show. So yeah, I'd say that that's probably yeah my obsession.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Yeah, I just recently watched the remake of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, did you like it?
I did. It was
Yeah,
really good. And
I'm gonna do some. We're talking about what we're gonna watch like for the Halloween time, like because we watch a lot of like the scarier like horror movies, but we don't like anything too slashery. Although we were like we should watch all of the screams. Like, so I think we're gonna do that. I think we're gonna watch all the screams.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't usually like horror movies,
Yeah.
but this one is really good. It's not too bad.
Yeah. I
So,
don't like gore. I don't
yeah,
like gore for gore's sake.
yeah,
But psychological stuff that's
yeah.
freaky. We like the Conjuring movies. The Conjuring movies scare the heck out of us. It's almost too scary. I bring I help out at the high school with the AV department with the advanced class. So I help them with their shorts and I help them with stuff that they're writing and I show them some filmmaking stuff. And funny enough, like horror is some of the best stuff to show to the kids because it's horror filmmaking to produce a scare takes, like if it's comedy, the filmmaking doesn't have to be necessarily that good. The person can just be really funny and the camera can just be there. But with horror, you need to work the camera in the perfect everything needs to work to produce like fear, in a like we all know that this is fake, so it's like what is something you have to be so good as a filmmaker to make someone believe that they're in trouble or that it's triggering that primal thing. So I show the kids a lot of the horror movies and stuff. It's like they think that like I'm like this horror obsessed guy. I'm like, no, no, no. I'm just showing you directing techniques and camera techniques.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I never thought of that.
Yeah, I know. Horror and comedy work so similarly. It's all based in surprise. Like comedy, the laugh is a surprising moment, and horror is a surprising moment as well. That's why sometimes people laugh during a horror movie because they laugh about, like they're anxious or whatever, they can't help
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even realize I was making commentary during the
Oh
movie.
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
until my mom pointed it out. I watched it with my mom and a cousin, and I didn't even realize I was yeah, making comments until
Oh
my
yeah.
mom pointed it out.
We were talking a lot during weapons. We were like, no, oh, come on, no, what are you doing? No, why would you? Yeah, all that stuff for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so what genre of movie would your life story be told as?
Oh man, I don't know. Probably something. It's probably Chaplin-y. Um, uh, yeah, kind of like yeah, like or like a Marx Brothers movie or something. Like something loud and ridiculous and silly and I mean you could definitely there's areas of it that feel probably like you know like my I love the like all of Cormac McCarthy his books and stuff, so or Jeff Nichols as a filmmaker where it feels very blue collar, but I think my stuff is to kind of honestly what it would be like is probably like a Danny McBride movie or show. Like it's probably closer to that. It's funny, it's ridiculous, but it's also pretty redneck. So that would probably be probably be mine.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Yeah, I've always wanted my life story to be both the musical and a rom-com.
Oh my God. That sounds great. Yeah, a musical rom-com.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah. Um, so what three words best describe you?
Well, we've already established loud. Um, hmm. Loud, I would say. God, my wife would have so many right now. She'd have so much better, many more better ones than me. I would say loud, or let's just go boisterous. I'm pretty bomb, like I'm pretty loud, but like happy, fun. But I would also go. You can't say like tough because that's ridiculous. I wouldn't say I'm tough, but I would say that I'm like um God, what would be the word? Here I am a writer and I can't even think of the word. I would say ambitious, like very very ambitious. So we've boisterous, ambitious, and um oh man. And yeah, oh, man, I want to say just like soft. like I feel like if I'm doing the tough thing, I have to go on the opposite side. I'm very sensitive as well. Obviously, I'm artistic, and so yeah, that has to be. You have to be a sensitive person to be artistic.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So, do you have any irrational fears?
We're really getting into all this stuff. This is great. I'll give you two. I'll give you three. Two are kind of like not jokey, but they're like, they're the one's more existential. Um, the irrational ones would be definitely like open water, like being open water where you can't see anything. I've been in certain situations where I've snorkeled or something and you look out and it's just the vastness of blue, or you look down and it's blue and then there's black, or you can't see the bottom or something. That's just
Mhm.
it's just terrifying to me. And being out in the water with an animal that is just so like adapt, whether it be a shark or a seal, even it's just or dolphin, something that's not even to harm you, is just still absolutely terrifying to me. I'll go another one which is bred into me because my entire lineage is terrified of them, is rattlesnakes. So there were a lot of rattlers around where I grew up. So it was something you always had to be very cautious of, was rattlesnakes. We have them up here, but they're not as prevalent. Um, and then the other existential one would be I'm always scared of like that everything's just going to go bad and we're just going to end up on the street or something. It's just like an irrational fear that everything is just going to like work's going to dry up. We're not going to be able to pay our bills. Everything will go terrible. We're going to have to live on the street. And then when I play that tape out and I go, what are you talking about? Like, it's just such a, I think when you grow up the way that I've established that I grew up, you're kind of like always outrunning a fear that things are going to go bad or you're going to end up, in a bad situation. It's kind of like a storm that you're trying to outrun in your car. You're just trying to try to drive through it and you're always checking your rear view mirror to see the clouds back there, and if you stop for a second, then it's going to catch you. So it's like it is an irrational fear. And I think it's one that, I talk about these kids I grew up with where they were very, very privileged. And I sense that they don't really have that storm that they feel like is following them. But I always feel like I kind of do, and I feel like I constantly have to be working, doing something to outpace it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So what is your most memorable moment from being on set?
God, there's so many. There's one that I like I said, because I'm ambitious, or I'm so focused on the job and doing a good job. I rarely, I don't, for my situation, I'm not of the mentality that I can really stop and smell the roses very often. But there are some situations that you are in where they are so unique and interesting and wild that they kind of take you out of it and you kind of like disassociate. You can see yourself experiencing them. And season one, when we're in the scene where it's the gray zone and we go to the gray market, yeah, it's like the black market almost, and there's all this. We walk in and they'd taken this theater that was multiple levels of audience theater in the round, and they had created all these little nooks and crannies of like little black market shops, and there were two wrestlers who were like street fighting, and then there were like dancers and like all these people selling stuff, and then all this merch that was rip off stuff that was like knockoff like Simpsons stuff. You're just like, the level of detail was so insane. I will all of a sudden I had like a pinch me. That day was insane because then like Robbie and I have to run from opposite sides of this theater, and they have two jib arms that are kind of moving, a camera on each, and they're moving to follow. It felt like I was in like a Marvel thing. It was like, this is so cool. This is wild. Anytime I was doing stuff with Zainab too, like the fingers and stuff that get plucked off, and I'm sitting in a hot tub, or I'm having a scene with a dog, or all these things where you're like, what is my life right now? This is so
Yeah.
strange. It was very surreal. It was a surreal job.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what subject could you give a TED Talk on, even though you were totally unqualified on that?
Wow. What subject would I give a TED talk on? What do I feel like I know a lot about? Um, yeah, I mean, I would probably, the boring answer would be like producing, like making low budget stuff, because I feel like I'm qualified, but there are so many other people. We've made a couple movies, but there are people who are just they're just better at it. I would say probably, if we want to go really dumb, I'd go like eating a pomegranate. I feel like I am an expert on eating a pomegranate. I know that fruit very well. All these other people have all these weird theories on how to do it, but I feel like I'm best at it. I feel like I can offer a lot to how to crack that thing open, how to get to the best seeds, exactly what even picking out the right pomegranate, all that stuff I'm pretty well versed in, and it would be a 3 hour long TED talk.
I love that. Yeah. Um, so I just have one final question for you. I love inspiring and motivational quotes, and this week the one that spoke to me is "My veins are filled with stories of survival." Is there a quotation that has inspired you lately?
Love your questions. They're just so good. Um, yeah, the one that I always focus on is an Ernest Hemingway quote, and he said, he said, "You can't make a racehorse out of a pig, but you can make a very fast pig." And I always love that, because it's like, you can't there are things that like maybe you're not, like in my industry and in my life, I've seen a lot of talented people, and more talented people than me. Um, but it doesn't mean anything. Like, there certainly, those talented people, if they work hard, will become great. But there are so many things that you can do where, yeah, you may not be the best, but you can be very good, especially for you. Like, you can be the best version of yourself doing that thing. It just really takes. I tell these kids at the school all the time that it's like you. I know that this sound you've been hit over the head with this, and it's probably doesn't even make sense to you anymore. But I have found it to be the most true thing in life is that you can be whoever, whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do. You can be good at it. You just have to do it. You have to work at it a lot. David Mamet had one that was he just said participate. And participate in what you want to do. Whatever you want to do, you need to participate in it, doing it. If you want to write movies, don't start writing plays, write movies, write short films and then write movies, whatever you succeed at, it will beget more of it. So you just have to work at it. You just have to keep working at what it is that you want to do and trying to get better. If I want to get better at guitar, well, I better start, I better keep playing a lot of guitar. There's not I'm not going to like pick up tennis and then be like, well, hopefully I get better at guitar. It's like you have to it's pretty simple, and it's like if you can be regimented about practice, whatever you're doing, you'll build up time. Sometimes like I golf and stuff, and it's like I have my clubs in the house, and I'll swing it a couple times, and I'll look at my watch and be like, "How long has it been?" And I was like, "Feels like it's been about 20 minutes." Be like, "Oh, it's only been like 5 minutes." And you're like, "If I want to get better at this, I probably should be swinging for 20." So I'll put a video on and I'll work on it and stuff, and it's like, well, okay, that's how you get better at something. So yeah, the racehorse out of a pig is always my favorite. That's my go-to.
Oh, I love that. That's a great quote.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah. Um, well, that was my final question for you. Thank you so much for joining me. I have had the best time talking with you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great joy. You're probably the best interview I've had on this whole press run.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you again for taking the time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And that's a wrap on today's edition of the latest to admire.